Okay, good morning everybody, and I apologize for the delay. The airport security is taking some time. I hope you didn't have your bags opened and checked for every detail. But let's start. I'm Juha Uitto, and I'm the chair of this conference, and I'm also the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the GEF. So it is my great pleasure welcoming you to this second international conference on evaluating climate change and development here in Washington, D.C. The theme of the conference, as you know, is tackling a key 21st century evaluation challenge, and I believe that the conference is taking place at a very exciting time for the evaluation community and the environment community also. As we all know, the global community will be transitioning from the Millennium Development Goals towards the Sustainable Development Goals, which are expected to feature environment and climate change in a big way. Also, the Climate Change Convention's 21st Conference of the Parties, COP21, is scheduled for 1 year from now, and we hope that it will be a key milestone towards achieving the long-awaited climate change agreement. And from a more maybe provincial point of view, the 2015 is also the International Year of Evaluation, and so there's a lot of events that are scheduled in evaluation field for next year, and we are taking a little bit of a early start in that respect. But in general, the expected post-2015 framework, the Sustainable Development Framework, will undoubtedly face a variety of conceptual and methodological challenges in all areas, including climate change. And that's why I believe that this conference is an important platform to inform the dialogue and to contribute to the upcoming agenda. And one of our core purposes is to bring a strong participation from the South to the dialogue, both to develop capacity and to give voice to experts and people from the South in these deliberations. Like the title says, this is the second international conference on evaluating climate change and development. The first international conference was held in Alexandria, Egypt in 2008. I won't get into that more, but it was organized also by the Global Environment Facility Evaluation Office. I wasn't with the office at that time, but I was lucky enough to participate in the conference in Alexandria, so I know how productive that was. One of the direct outcomes of the Alexandria conference was the creation of Climate-Eval, a community of practice that is now the force behind this present conference also. That community now has something like 2,000 members, and over the past few years it has evolved into an important hub of knowledge and expertise. And it has also expanded its scope beyond climate change to natural resources management. And it has produced a number of state-of-the-art studies and serves as a repository for something like 500 evaluations that have been conducted. And this conference is now organized together with the Climate-Eval community of practice, and we are very grateful to that. So the purpose of this conference is to build on the gains made since the 2008 conference and to continue the conversation about evaluating climate change and development and natural resources management. The objectives of the present conference are to promote an interdisciplinary exchange of ideas and methods to evaluate these important things that are really the challenge for the global community. The conference program is shaped in a way that will match your particular interests as well as allow you to take a part in more general discussions. We have 3 parallel sessions on policy and program evaluation, on methodological challenges in climate change adaptation evaluation, and similarly methodological challenges in climate change mitigation evaluation. Plenary sessions and keynote addresses and panels are planned to ensure interaction between all participants and involvement on key issues, while most of the conference is organized in these 3 parallel streams. Please refer to the program that you have been given this morning to plan your participation over the coming 3 days, which I believe will be very intensive. All of the meetings will take place in this building, and we have staff available who will then guide you, and at the end of this session I will introduce you to them. We also recognize the importance of social interaction in an event like this, and therefore we have organized 2 receptions. So we had 1 reception last night. Many of you participated, but not all of them. You'll have a second chance tonight when we have another reception, which is actually also a book launch. I'm sorry to be slightly self-promoting here, but there's a new book that I edited on evaluating environment in international development, and I took the opportunity of having that book launched together with tonight's reception. Finally, I would like to thank the members of the steering committee of this conference and colleagues from the GEF Independent Evaluation Office and the Climate-Eval community of practice, who have worked very hard already over several months to make this conference happen. But ultimately, it is you, the participants, who make the conference a success, and I hope this event will exceed our expectations and will be a fruitful event for all of us. Our collective effort has brought us together and provided us this unique opportunity to interact amongst colleagues from the South and North. This is what will drive the success of this conference over the next 3 days, and I hope that this will lead to a lasting network of committed professionals. And I hope that this network will continue advancing this important agenda of evaluating climate change and development. I also hope that this conference will lead to consolidation of old and creation of new friendships and alliances. It's 6 years since the previous conference, and I hope we don't have to wait for another 6 years to get together again, but that there will be lots of follow-up activities inspired by this conference partly, but then inspired by your interaction here that will then lead to very concrete and collaborative efforts. All in all, I hope that you will find this conference a productive, engaging and enjoyable experience. And on behalf of the organizers, I wish you a very pleasant stay in Washington, D.C. if you have any time to see any of this beautiful city while we are in the conference. I have a few announcements later, but I think that at this stage I will invite Rob Vandenberg to give a few remarks. Rob is the person who was behind the Alexandria conference 6 years ago and behind the creation of the Climate-Eval community of practice. And he's also my predecessor in the job as the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the GEF. Thanks very much for your attention. And Rob, you can speak from there or you can come here.
No, I prefer to speak from here, if that's okay. And it's indeed just a few words. First of all, I'm very glad to be here and to see this happening. We tried to get the conference done before I would leave the GEF, and that turned out to be impossible. But still, I was very glad to be invited to come here and to help turn the conference into a reality of people meeting people. One important aspect of the whole genesis of the idea of this international conference was a wish from the GEF to actually establish or to make sure that the GEF would apply best international practice in evaluation. Now, if we're talking about evaluation of climate change and development, what is international best practice? And in the years before the conference took place, we found out that it was very difficult to establish these best international practice because the community was scattered, fragmented. Meetings that took place during, for example, Evaluation Association meetings, conferences, the American Evaluation Association, the EES, AFREA in Africa, for example, had some streams on environmental work, but these streams then were not able to communicate with each other. So we needed to create something, a forum. Of course, the Council was first, of the GEF was first concerned. We need to get evaluation fully integrated into the GEF, so that's your first concern. But after a few years, they gave the green light and said, yes, if you want to do something, gather the international community, please go ahead. And we sent out an appeal to partners. Contrary to what Juha said, actually, it wasn't the GEF Evaluation Office on its own that organized this conference. It was an impressive international coalition of IUCN, the various universities, NGOs, etc., that together organized the first international conference. So it was very much an international event. Like this one is also not just organized by the GEF Independent Evaluation Office. There are partners involved, and this is what makes it so strong. And we succeeded in doing that. And then there is the issue that, of course, the conference is meeting everybody, meets everybody, but then we found that we should continue meeting each other in a virtual community of practice over the internet. And the thing to understand there is that communications research tells us that face-to-face meetings are way more effective, really outperform virtual meetings dramatically. This continues to be the case, even though Skype gets better, etc., etc. So every once in a while, you need to meet. And I'm very happy that it's happening right now. And I think there is then this golden opportunity to renew the engagement and also to turn Climate-Eval again into a vibrant community of practice. And I think this is on the agenda of the conference as well. So I'm very much looking forward to see international best practice emerging in these meetings and to see a continuation of the interaction. Thanks very much.
It is indeed a very collaborative effort, and there are lots of partners. And on behalf of the partners and the steering committee, I would like to ask Monika Egger-Kistling from the Swiss Development Cooperation to say a few words. And she has been one of the key partners in organizing this conference as part of the steering committee. And the steering committee has been an active group.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. The Director of the GEF Independent Evaluation Office, Mr. Juha Uitto, and Chair of this conference. Dear Rob Vandenberg, currently President of IDEAS, so he continues being engaged in evaluation. The representative of the CEO of GIF, Ms. Jis Aoiki, keynote speaker Andrew Steer, CEO and President of the World Resources Institute, dear colleagues from the donors community, dear colleagues from the evaluation community, ladies and gentlemen. I am representing the donors that have donated to the second phase of Climate-Eval or have contributed specifically to this conference to happen. These are Denmark, Germany, Sweden, United Kingdom, Switzerland, and UNDP. The donors' aim and key mandate in international cooperation is to contribute to poverty alleviation and to the reduction of global risks that negatively affect the poor. Climate change is among these global risks that negatively affect the most vulnerable. People in developing countries are much more affected by climate change due to widespread poverty and lower resilience and coping capacities. The negative impacts of climate change threaten lives and livelihoods, as well as the hard-won gains achieved so far in reducing poverty and in promoting sustainable development. As development agencies, we have to render account to our citizens and to our parliaments, and we regularly have to report on development results achieved in concrete terms. Results-based monitoring and evaluation are therefore important for donors and recipient countries alike. International cooperation operates in a highly dynamic context, and the implications of climate change on development are becoming more and more evident to everybody. This evolution raises a set of important questions, such as: is climate change a new transversal theme and has to be integrated in all development interventions? If so, what does mainstreaming climate change mean in concrete terms? Do we have, together with our partners, to systematically redesign the portfolio of interventions? How does this redesign look like? How to evaluate climate change and development given that poverty reduction and climate change are so strongly intertwined? As donors, we have to evolve, to learn, and to adapt. This conference serves as a platform for learning from each other's experiences and for improving their own approach. Recipient countries can likewise benefit from strengthening their own monitoring systems in the field of mitigation, including greenhouse gas emissions inventories, which can support policy making and planning, developing smart outcome indicators on adaptation, and I willingly repeat what means smart. It is specific, measurable, accepted, realistic and timely indicators will help us and our partners to further enhance and consolidate the understanding of climate-resilient development. Smart indicators are an important base, and personally, I regard them even as a sine qua non condition for reliable, evidence-based reporting on results, be it at outcome level, be it at the level of the impact. As I already mentioned, donors' mandate and budgets are given by the parliaments. The budget is ODA money, it's official development aid. We are therefore held accountable about the good use made with this ODA budget towards the OECD, towards our parliaments, and towards our public and taxpayers in the countries. Donor development agencies are reviewed, we are inspected, we are under constant control of our parliaments. And we have to regularly produce reports on results and for producing high-quality reports, reliable reports, we rely on solid evaluations. Evaluation, therefore, plays a central role for accountability and for learning. In fact, evaluation and learning are essential for constantly improving the effectiveness of the international cooperation and for adapting to the new challenges ahead. Climate change mitigation and adaptation pose a new combination of methodological challenges to all of us. Since there is no common metric to simply measure success of adaptation to climate change, context-specific ways of monitoring and evaluation taking into account uncertainties, shifting baselines, and long time horizons are needed. In the field of mitigation, there are still challenges in the monitoring, reporting, and verification of greenhouse gas reduction, such as estimating emission reduction from sinks and prevented deforestation, just to mention a few examples. It is really true and of vital interest. We, the donors, rely on solid evaluation expertise, experience, methodology development, knowledge creation and knowledge sharing in order to improve relevance and effectiveness. This evaluation expertise must be global, including a strengthened community of evaluators in developing countries. That's why our agencies have provided financial support to the Climate-Eval community of practice and specific support for this conference. We strongly welcome the initiative for this conference and congratulate the GIF Independent Evaluation Office and the Climate-Eval Network to have created this opportunity for exchange and learning. The preparing work was an enormous effort. I was a little bit testimony from far, and the whole team merits already now a great thank you. We expect that insights gained here will be spread globally through the network and the conference proceedings and will contribute to the provision of updated tools and methods that will increase the usefulness of evaluations for policy and decision makers in government agencies, as well as for other stakeholders, including local communities. We are convinced that we will turn home enriched in evaluation knowledge and motivated to further investing and engaging in evaluating activities that contribute to reduce the global risks' negative impacts on development, including climate change actions. We are looking forward to 3 exciting days. Enjoy the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica. Your support has been very much appreciated, and that of all the donors and supporters of Climate-Eval and this conference, and your personal contributions to the organization of the conference has been very valuable. I would like to now invite Chizuru Aoki, representing the GEF Secretariat, our other half of our organization, to say a few words. Chizuru is a senior technology transfer officer in the climate change team of GEF Secretariat.
Well, that's one of my titles, but I also coordinate the climate mitigation program for the GEF. So the learning and information coming out of this work is directly relevant to what we do. Good morning, everybody. Yuha, thank you very much for the invitation to the GEF, as well as Rob. First and foremost, I wanted to convey warm greetings and congratulations from the GEF CEO, Naoko Ishii. She was unfortunately unable to attend this workshop in person because she's in Bangkok right now, attending the meeting on Minamata Convention on Mercury. And probably you all know that that is one of the newest conventions for which the GEF is serving as the financial mechanism. So the GEF family and the issues we serve is actually expanding right now. So I'm very pleased to be here to say a few words from the perspective of the GEF Secretariat. As you have said, it's the better half. We are the ones who program the resources and then pass on to the evaluation office and sort of wait and see what might come back and what might help us inform to do our projects better. Anyway, this weekend, you all noticed that climate change was, again, the front page news of CNN, the Washington Post, and a bunch of international press. And this is because the release of the IPCC synthesis report that just came out over the weekend. And I assume many of you have seen the coverage or have read the IPCC report, but the message to us is very, very clear and simple. It's that the planet is facing irreversible effects of climate change with impacts on both natural systems as well as human systems. There are existing and new climate risks that all continents as well as oceans will experience. And those are all relevant for all the areas that the GEF strives to address from the global environmental management perspective. Another key message that came across loud and clear is that the time is of the essence. To stay below the 2-degree targets, we know, and also to do that at the manageable costs here, we need to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 40% to 70% by 2050. That's only 35 years from now. And that number is compared to the 2010 level. And when we talk about the next century, the IPCC report said we ought to be actually going down to 0 emissions or below. The report also stated that while there are many adaptation and mitigation options that could help to address the climate challenges, there is no silver bullet, there is no single action that will help us achieve the climate goals. What that means is that effective implementation of options would depend on policies and cooperation and can be enhanced through integrated responses that link adaptation mitigation with other societal as well as developmental objectives. The report also identified a number of common enabling factors for mitigation and adaptation, and those include effective institutions, effective governance, innovation and investments in environmentally sound technologies as well as infrastructure, lifestyle choices, sustainable livelihoods, and so on. So with this context, we find this conference is quite germane because it seeks to address some of the themes identified in the IPCC report based on evaluative evidence as well as insight, and also touch upon some of the priorities that we in the Climate Finance Committee has been debating. And let me highlight 3 things from our perspectives that we found to be key points of relevance from this particular conference. The very first one is actually the timeliness. And 2015, as we know, is going to be a seminal year with the global community working towards a universal agreement on climate change. At the same time, we will see the Sustainable Development Goals coming to an agreement. While the negotiations and discussions are ongoing, though, we need to be investing wisely and also making good programming choices now. Delaying additional mitigation will only substantially increase the economic, the technological, societal, as well as institutional challenges to meet the 2-degree goal that we're all striving to achieve. We think, therefore, that now is a critical juncture when it is very useful and I would say necessary to have evaluations and lessons learned to be shared with decision makers, financiers, including the GEF, and other stakeholders, so that we can act and help make informed decisions in a timely manner. And we will continue to provide financing for mitigation and adaptation as a new mechanism of GCF and other relevant financial institutions will come into a picture. And we will continue to learn. But the timeliness of actually being able to do our job in the right way is very important to us. The second point is synergy. The GEF climate change projects are increasingly seeking multiple global environmental benefits. And we are trying to do this in an integrated way. Just to give you a figure, within the past GEF 5 programming period, which covered 2010-2014, from the climate change mitigation perspective, we saw almost half our programs not in single sector climate change initiatives. They all came back as multifocal, multi-trust fund in a synergistic way. So what that says is there is growing interest among countries to tackle multiple environmental issues by seeking opportunities for synergy. For instance, between mitigation and adaptation, with land degradation and biodiversity to address ecosystem-based approaches, as well as with the chemicals and waste in international waters. There is also a move towards addressing drivers of global environmental change, which do not always, as we know, fit into a single thematic box of energy or water or what have you. So we think the GEF has a unique advantage to support integrated initiatives, and it is important for the GEF to capture results in the systemic way and to help inform strategic decisions and integrated project design based on relevant evaluative evidence. So we're already working with institutions interested in how to measure results in integrated approach. But also this conference, it is our expectation that the discussions as well as outcomes will also be a platform to exchange ideas and to share with us emerging ideas and approaches towards more effective integration and impactful synergy. My last point is about outreach. Evaluations and lessons learned promote learning among the Climate-Eval network, and we really would like to see that reach a wider audience. The topics, the insights, the lessons learned are directly relevant to how we do business within the GEF. For the GEF 6 period, we will be looking into programming about $1.26 billion of climate change mitigation financing, and we hope that that will catalyze up to $10 billion of a co-financing within the next 4-year period. And that's a lot of resources. That's going to be a lot of projects. So that also represents a collective effort of many people who develop, review, and implement GF projects. And these are the people who could really benefit from the lessons learned as well as innovative approaches and evaluative evidence that might be coming out of this workshop. So, and they can make great contributions to help enhance performance as well as accountability of GF projects that are being developed and implemented. So in conclusion, the evaluation work you do, as well as the knowledge shared in this conference, are very important to the GEF and how we do business. Following this conference, you also have our open invitation to continue to share the lessons learned, as well as key outcomes with the GEF programming division, and particularly the climate change unit. I look forward to the discussions here, and thank you very much for this opportunity to address you all.
Thank you very much. It's also for setting some expectations to the conference and putting us on the spot, and we will try to live up to these expectations.